Yo, what's going on, brothers? Hope you're all doing phenomenal today. Now, I know you're surprised. You're like, Lim, where the fuck is your do-rag at? And long story short, it was hot earlier. Came back in, took a shower, didn't feel like putting it back on. Go ahead and enjoy this form while it lasts. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you all about something that's some revelation that I had recently, and it's the revelation that doing the hard shit is actually fun. Doing things that challenge you is actually fun. So let me tell you about this story that, well, I told this story earlier, but I'm gonna tell it again, right? So basically, I met up with a friend at Starbucks. We essentially went with the goal of like talking business and stuff, right? Because we're both trying to escape the matrix and whatnot. You know, we're both trying to make that money, hit that 10K a month. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, we go out. We're just talking about rent stuff. We're throwing ideas off of each other, and so we were talking about how we're both trying to start agencies, right? And we got on the topic of outreach, and you know, we eventually we started like cold calling random people up in this Starbucks, and so we were doing that, and I'm like, cause I don't like cold calling. The idea of like calling random businesses is like, you know, I just don't like doing it. But that day, I kind of got into this flow, and I was calling up business after business after business, right? And after a while, I was like, yo, this is kind of fun. So we're just going back and forth cold calling people. He actually ended up getting the dude said he would pull up for a meeting, but he didn't actually show. But like, that's besides the point. The thing is, like, doing that difficult task, it turned out to be fun, and that's kind of the idea. Because in a way, I was like competing with him. I was challenging myself to make these calls, to get better at making these calls, and I actually ended up enjoying myself. And you see that with like other aspects of self-improvement too. Say, for example, working out, right? It might be hard to get into the gym at first. You might not want to do it, but once you start working out, once you start moving that iron, and once you start doing push-ups or calisthenics or whatever it is that you do, you'll find that you actually have fun. You'll find that eventually you'll start wanting to do those things. You'll start wanting to get better. You'll start wanting to challenge yourself even more. And it's kind of like this overarching kind of concept that I figured out, or kind of just was revealed to me, right? It's like doing things that are going to improve you, doing things that are going to make you better, are usually hard to begin with. They're hard to actually get started doing it, right? Like cold showers, you don't want to get in that cold shower, or you might not want to go approach that girl, or you might not feel like working out, you might not feel like going out for that run, you might not feel like making cold calls or outreaching for your business. And I kind of feel like that's to deter the unworthy people from actually taking those tasks, because those are the things that are going to improve you. Those are things that are going to make you better in life. And to essentially stop everybody from doing that, it's like, it's difficult. It's harder to actually start up that action. But once you get into that action, once you start doing it, you'll find out that you sort of enter like a flow state, right? It's not as hard anymore. You're already in there, and it's like, it just becomes light work essentially. Like cold showers, you're like, oh, I don't want to do this, but once you get in that water, you're like, damn, this is kind of nice. This feels kind of good, right? Once you actually approach that girl, once you've like gotten through the introduction, you'll find that, well, talking to her actually isn't that difficult. You kind of just enter this flow state. Once you make those first few cold calls, you're like, well, this isn't even that bad, and you start calling person after person after person. And I kind of related it to like this concept I learned in science and chemistry. It's kind of like the like chemical reactions, right? So in chemical reactions in chemistry, there's it takes a certain amount of energy to actually start the reaction. That's the activation energy. And usually how this works is the activation energy is like, it'll be like this kind of slope. It'll go up, and like right at the top, that's how much energy it takes to start the reaction, right? But once the reaction starts, right after the reaction starts, it'll drop, it goes down, and then it plateaus, right? So that's really like, you can really relate that to self-improvement. It takes a lot of energy to get into these tasks, but once you overcome that, the energy drops and you're able to just coast. You get into a flow state. You're able to do it unconsciously. You're able to do it easy. It becomes light work. And doing these difficult things, you know, once you overcome that activation energy, you'll find that it's not that hard. You'll find that it's actually enjoyable. You just gotta overcome that start. You've got to overcome that activation energy. But now there's this other thing that you learn in chemistry. This is a catalyst, right? And what catalysts do is they make the reaction a lot easier to start. They make the reaction require less energy to start. So let's say the normal activation energy is right here. With the catalyst, it will be right here. So instead of going all the way up, peaking, then plateauing, it's gonna go up a little bit, then peak, and then plateau. So now it requires even less energy to get that action started. So if you're having trouble actually doing the things that you need to do to improve yourself, find out a catalyst. Find out something you can do to like trick your mind into actually getting in there easier. I'll use cold showers as an example, as that's something I saw recently. So normally for my morning routine, I'd like wake up, do my hygiene, my skincare and all that. Then I'd take a cold shower, then go for a run. And then, you know, I do some other stuff after that. But I realized it would take me like, I would hop in the shower, but I would like stand around for like 2-3 minutes before I actually got in the water. Then I was like, hold on, what if I wake up, you know, and then take my run first? That way I'm all hot and sweaty and whatnot. I'm like, dang, I'm trying to cool off. Then I just go right into the shower. So I started doing that. I was like, you know, I started like, instead of wasting like 1 to 2 minutes, I would go in right instantly. I switched up my routine essentially, and that acted as a catalyst to get me to do that action, get me to take that cold shower, to make myself uncomfortable just a little bit easier. So if you can, I suppose, find a catalyst to help yourself start these actions, help yourself do these difficult things, you're going to be able to get through that activation energy and enter that flow state, actually get some work done and actually improve yourself. So yeah, I suppose that's all I've got for today. Let's put the work in. We out. Mwah.